Hello and welcome on back to another Tools episode. I'm your host Teddy, and today I'm being joined once again by
Hayden.
And today we're going to talk about the TMNT TV 2003 Season 2 Episode 18, The Golden Puck. So what do you think about this episode briefly?
Briefly, it's very much a crazy one, very much a crazy and weird episode. Like I say this a lot, but it is. I'm very much different to what I was expecting again.
I'll just say that while I do really enjoy this episode, and I think it's definitely one of the better episodes from this season, I do feel like at moments you can definitely feel that this was definitely a filler episode and also a episode that was written by someone who wasn't on the team normally, because there's some parts of like Mikey and how he would speak, and even some of the comedy elements. It wasn't bad, but it just felt off. I think that might be the best way to describe it, but it's still a pretty great episode nonetheless. Okay, so for the first bit, we do get to see some ice hockey. Anything to say about that bit there?
It was cool to see a different environment. It was cool to see that the turtles were out and about, and that they're in a human environment, and it was really cool to see this ice hockey ring in the center of Central Park. It was pretty cool to see.
You have to say, like, it was just like really nice to see everything in like the whole snow environment, and it was just perfect because I would say that because also like time of recording this is like November, very almost Christmas,
building up to Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know, something about it is just it has that Christmassy kind of vibe which I think works so well. But I must admit it's like so weird because in like the timeline for like the show, this should be around like near summertime-ish, or I think I want to say about April, June-ish sort of time. It's weird to see them having snow then. So I think this episode was definitely made out of order, but it was amazing. I love the scenery in this episode. They should have more snow in episodes. It's a small little touch, but it makes episode feel completely different. The whole vibe is just perfect. And even with the whole game itself, it wasn't anything which I was really particularly like interested in, but it was something different and just something unique, because I don't think there's many shows that do ice hockey or show hockey in general, so it was quite nice to see a different aspect of life represented in Turtles. So yeah. So after that, we do get to see them just talking with Casey and the Turtles about, you know, the history of ice hockey, and them thinking the case is a bonehead. Anything to say about that bit there?
I've actually got quite a bit. It was very weird to see the turtles without their bandanas. When they lifted up the masks, they were like... It was very weird. They looked alien to me, because I've always seen them with their, like, famous bandanas, and then they don't have them. I was very taken back by it. Like, it was very alien to me. They looked like aliens, even though they are turtles. Then they're not turtles. If you get what I mean, coming from, because
yeah, I mean, it's just like unnatural, like uncanny and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd say like the weirdest part about that is the fact that when they have the mask on, they have pupils, but when they have the mask on, they don't have any pupils, which is weird. Compared to like every other version of Turtles, they always have pupils. This is the one version that doesn't have pupils. I think it works really well for the look for going for the mask, but it's so weird. It's just like, is it either you go with it or you don't.
Yeah, it's a very hit and miss when it comes to the eyes.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just weird.
Yeah, it just feels foreign, you know. Like it's unsettling. Like it looks like they're missing a part of themselves, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, and then also have to say that like we did both with all the things about Turtles going. I think Cases Bonehead say I. That reminded me a lot of the Notes from the Underground episode with. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was as good, but I feel like it was like the essence of that kind of bit was just there, and it worked so well.
Oh my god, yeah, the Notes of the Underground. That was a while ago.
Yep. Over a year. Oh boy. Okay, so either way, moving on.
Yep.
Okay, so we do have the villains for this episode. They come in with I think they're called Powerhawks. I think they're called, and they decide to steal the the garden park and decided to blow them up. What do you think about that bit there?
First of all, I was not expecting anything of that sort. I thought it was going to be like a post-celebration sort of thing, like Casey was saying. It's like, oh, cool, they've got some like hovercraft and performers and actors, pretty cool. And then, of course, they come down in the most fantastic fashion, and then, of course, they land, and everyone's thinking, oh, that's cool. And then they decide to pull out laser cannons or laser guns, whatever you call them, and start shooting up the place. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, we've got some space cowboys with some space laser rifles, and they're shooting up the place, and they're like space cowboys, which really perplexed me because they have guns, and we don't usually see many guns in this series. Like, the only time I've seen guns is in when, like, the first few seasons in which they traveled to space in the Triceratons and the Federation, of which they had guns. But seeing these guns in like New York City and the so sophisticated, like laser guns, it felt a bit weird. Like, hold on a minute, are these aliens? Are these aliens disguised as humans? Are these like Utron disguised as humans? Why have they got laser guns? Why are they shooting up the place? Like, what is the point? And my brain was just racking it back and forth for ages until, of course, they were after the golden puck. And I'm not gonna lie, it worked, but what is the point going full blast, stealing a trophy full of innocent civilians around, and then, of course, thank God it wasn't like any other civilians around, it was just the turtles that got blown up, but they could have killed some people. Like, civilians could have died in this sort of scene where they just came guns blazing. And, of course, Casey could have died. Like, don't get me wrong, the turtles have got their shell, but Casey Jones just got squashed underneath that rabble, and it was just really mad just to see it unfold. I'm like, what is going on? They're stealing a trophy. What's so important about this trophy? But we'll talk about that later on this evening.
Do you need some time to, like, you know, like, and just take a look and just like, to take a breather, because went through all that in like one shot. Do you need time?
Oh God, yeah, I need a breather.
Okay, I'll tag in. I mean, yeah, I'd say like it was like it's weird with what they did with these characters for what they're trying to go with the cowboy look, but like guns and all that kind of stuff. It's weird, but I think it has a unique charm to it that works well enough. But I think that had this been in any other kind of story, I don't think it would have worked as well. But I think it works really well here. But I mean, my question with all this is that how did they get like enough altitude or like height to actually go down that way? Because you're not going off from like a tall building or anything like that. Then okay, yeah, I have nothing to really say about it. But if they're coming off from like a helicopter, then wouldn't it make just sense for them to just go down in a helicopter to pick it up and all that kind of stuff? I feel like there was a lot of easier ways they could have gone around this, instead of trying to go through it this way where God knows what else they're trying to do. But yeah, I think that's all I've really got to say about it. It's just any other way could have been easier.
Very over the top, I think.
Yeah. So after that, we do get to see them chasing down the guys on the snowmobiles through the city and into the subway before they get blown up. What do you think about that bit there?
I really did like the chase scene. I really did like how the Turtles and Casey Jones were on these snowmobiles in like Central Park, I believe it was, going through the snow. I just thought that was a really cool environment. Like you said about the snow, I really do like how they've got the picture of this snow, this blanket of white on the foliage, on the park, on the scene, and it's pretty cool just to see a different mode of transport being used by the Turtles. Like, these jet skis have been obviously placed for them to take, you know, but I really did enjoy that, even though nothing drastic happened within those few scenes, except Raphael's jet ski getting blown up by the las cannon or laser gun, whatever you're going to call it. I'm probably going to refer it to like a las gun as the guns that the cowboys use, but getting back to the point, I thought it was really cool just to see them going through the snow through Central Park. I thought that was a really nice little touch there.
You had to say that because it's just so different and so unique compared to every other chase scene or like pretty much every other scene in any other version of Turtles. I think this is what makes this episode like stand out so much compared to every other episode, because it's different environments, different scenes, different just like different everything, and I think that works for the best for this kind of bit here, where it's not really anything like special or unique, but I think that because it is like so different compared to every other scene, what makes it like stand out so like well, and it does have I think that because it's also like the snow thing and all kind of stuff. I just had a big smile on my face. I can't say too much other than that. It was just a fun scene. But after that, we do get to see the Turtles to find out where these cowboys are going, and going to this hotel. Now, this hotel has some very unique scenes, which we got Mikey pretends to be a maid, and the Turtles hanging Casey out of a window. Yeah, what's about that scene there?
To be honest, it was some good acting skills and some good actual like thinking from Mikey to try and help Casey out. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna tear into Casey a bit on this one. Casey is definitely a bonehead in this episode. Like, what do you even call that hiding spot? Like the stranded starfish, or like his whole body was
Floor
just
T-pose.
out. Floor T-pose, yeah. It was just out in the open. I'm like, Casey, mate, we can still see you. And of course, if Robbie or Bobby or one of the two characters saw him over the bed and he's just and his body's just laid out, like his arms are underneath the bed, his whole torso's out on show, it would have just been terrible for Casey. Like, he just would have been shot at 1,000 times with a las gun and probably no more Casey after that. But just really, Casey, you had some time. You could have hidden behind, I don't know, the wardrobe or underneath the bed perhaps, instead of just T-posing between the two. Like, what is going on? Like, Casey, you're better than this.
I mean, I have to say that like I did find it very amusing, and I think it like works really well with his character, and I do think it's like really funny. But yeah, that is so stupid. And we have to say that like this, and also like some other like comments like Mikey was making with like, oh, there's pie and that kind of stuff, where it feels like, because I'm pretty sure what happened was like they got a new writer on for this one specific episode, and I think you can definitely tell that in certain parts, and I think that this might be like one of those parts, but I'm not too sure. But it's funny, but it's just like so stupid. But at the same time, what they did later, hanging Casey from above the window, wasn't that much better either, because all God do was look up. Because then all Mikey, was it like Leo and Dawn, all they had to do was just put him up over the edge. Like, there was like so many other ways they could have gone around this and handled it, but they did it in the worst possible way ever. But Mikey's maid voice.
Yeah, that is, and
it's a move.
It is a move. But how did they not see the rest of his body? Like his green legs? Like, surely that would be something suspicious, right? If someone came up to my door and I saw them that they had green legs, I would question why they have said green legs, you know?
And why are you looking down there, Hayden?
No, that's not what I meant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But surely, like, you would like question wy, you know? Like, sure,
Well, even his like fingertips or like fingers and all that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's green, and surely the physique as well. Like, surely they would question. It's like, oh, why are you green? Like, don't get me wrong, it's New York, but it's, you know,
Turtles to deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say that also, like, with like him going back to, I believe it was like episode 2 or 3 from this season, where Mikey was dressing up as a girl. He really, like, he doesn't really question it or doesn't get embarrassed by it. He really, like, slips into that role very easily and just goes along with it as if it's normal for him.
Oh yeah, like he's got like some personality, like split personality disorder, and he has all these ones.
Is he trans?
It's like, Oh my god. Oh god.
Why not? He can pull it off.
Oh, was not expecting that. But okay, moving on.
Okay, we're moving on. Okay, so for the next bit, we do have a very cool like chase scene with the turtles and Casey driving in the villain's truck, while the other ones are trying to bash into him, and Casey doing some decent driving. Is one way to describe it. So yeah, what about that scene there?
That was a somewhat cool scene, I guess. Casey's the getaway driver. Mikey's being bashed around with a trophy in the back. Like, his shell's definitely been rung at this point. But it was also very weird to see, like, it was just the whole cowboy and las guns thing. Like, just the whole chase scene with them with their las guns just firing out the top of the hood of the car. And it's just, like, going from New York City, like, no one's reporting this, no one's like talking about it, like, oh yeah, no, this is just another Tuesday night for us in New York City. Some cowboys with las guns shooting up people in green turtle suits, you know, it's just another Tuesday night for them.
Well, I mean, in this universe, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I just say, like, while the overall like scene itself, I don't think there's anything really too special because, I mean, every other like franchise and even Turtles themselves have done like chase scenes that's similar to this or something along those kind of lines. So I'd say that like there wasn't anything like really too special here, even though like we did get to see like Raphael like doing their stuff on the roof and all that kind of stuff. I just feel like it was just a pretty generic kind of thing, and I would have to say that like with Casey's driving, I wish I would have played into that a little bit more because I feel like there's a little more like you could really do there with like Casey's like really crazy driving and just Casey in general. I feel like this honestly could have been like a really fun and great scene, but I think that like they played it a bit too safe, which I think is the only disappointing part about it. But it's decent, but I feel like there's a lot they could have done with it because it's Casey.
Yeah, they could have done, but I don't know why they didn't.
Yeah. But after that, Casey has a great idea to lure the bad guys back to the ice ring to give them the gold the trophy thing to them, but instead he's gonna trick them with the turtles. But yet, the turtles decide to play a joke on him and don't come out when Casey says he has friends. That is just awful.
That is like, well, it is pretty
Proper
funny
savage
from
humour.
our point. Yeah, very much bad humour, but it's funny from our perspective as the audience. But if I was Casey Jones in that situation, in that scenario, I would be absolutely terrified. I'll be just like, yeah, I would just be crapping bricks at this point. I'd be like absolutely terrified because all they can do is just point their las guns at Casey and just puts holes in him, like, and then just take the trophy for himself. Like, it could have turned out really bad if the Turtles didn't step in when they did.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It's just like it was like really funny with like what they're trying to go for because I do think it worked in its favour for what they're trying to go for with this whole Casey has no friends and all that kind of stuff. And it's all true because I don't see any of his other friends, so it's kind of true. But I say that like here's like as well it was like what I was saying earlier with it this feeling like a new writer's come in to do this one episode for that joke because and even like the actual fight scene itself with we should talk about it in just a second. It really doesn't feel like a normal writer kind of thing, and feel like just like an extra writer just coming to do an extra feat or like this one episode. But it's not bad. It just feels out of place and it doesn't really feel like suit these kind of characters. And I don't mean it like that in a bad way because I think that the humour does work extremely well. But I think it does make sense because it doesn't feel like them, but at the same time it does. Hopefully that makes sense.
A bit, yeah.
But after that, we do get to see the actual fight itself, where we do get to see the turtles using hockey sticks, skating around, fighting them, and Casey showing off what could have been a brutal scene, but yet nothing really. What about like that bit there?
Seeing the fight scene with the turtles and Casey Jones against the space cowboys, I thought it was pretty cool. I liked how the turtles used the hockey sticks as weapons instead of their traditional weapons, and I also like to see Casey Jones like delivering justice, as I call it, upon the guy that wronged him. Well, not wronged him, but took like the golden puck, because Casey Jones and hockey is like water to like, oh god, I'm trying to explain it now. It's like it's like his whole thing. It's his life, and if someone messes with the golden puck, they're gonna get justice. That's his sort of thing.
Yeah, I'd say like this, just like what I said earlier, just like it doesn't really feel like the turtles with what they're trying to do here, but I think it's just such a fun and creative fight scene with the turtles using the hockey sticks, just going around and just hitting everyone. And some of these guys, I feel like they should have died here, like because like at one point you got Mikey and Donnie. They grabbed one guy by the arms and then lob him over over like a ramp, and he goes his head or his back lands straight onto like hard ice or concrete at the very least. He should have like broken something. It's like this whole fight scene seems like it should have been a lot more dangerous and a lot more bloodier than what it actually was. But like surprisingly, everyone came out surprisingly fine. But they really shouldn't have.
Yeah, no. Come to think of it, I think they should have had a few broken bones when landing on ice.
Yeah.
Like it hurts. Trust me, it hurts.
Yeah, it is. I guess it was for the kids and all that kind of stuff, but like some of the stuff, because even got one point, it got ramming like one guy into a wall, and then putting all like smashing into him again in the wall. Like it really feels like they played off a bit too like smooth. It's just like, no, we just hit him once. Actually, we hit him twice, but we don't call about that all the time. It's like a lot of stuff like that. It's just like, some of these guys maybe should have been dead or something along those kind of lines because they came off way too easily. However, we don't get to see them ever again in the show or the entire franchise, so maybe they did die. I guess we'll never know.
It would have been cool to see them though in a different light because I was thinking they could bring it in as like bounty hunters or something, like the proper cowboy bounty hunter sort of thing. I think that would have worked well in a future episode, but it's a shame that now I know that they're not going to be back. It's kind of annoying, like it's a good character. Like they're good characters, like the lasgun and the cowboy.
They're alright. I wouldn't say they're the best or anything, but they were good for this one episode. I feel like that's the most you could really do. I think too, you'll be pushing for it in terms of like what we could really do, because I think that like without that the main guy, I don't think these characters really had too much to really carry more than one episode or anything like that. I think that this is like maybe more than enough, or maybe a bit too much for these characters. But I think like they did their job well enough. It's just maybe not so much next time.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what do you think about this episode overall?
Overall, I thought this was a nice filler episode. Don't get me wrong, it was good. I really did like some bits, like the scenery and the environment and just the whole change of pace. But overall, I think it's a really good filler episode, all in all.
Yeah, let's say that this episode was a really nice one to look at with all the scenery, and I think the scenery is just the main thing that's bringing this episode up quite a bit. And I do think that like this episode is definitely more unique compared to other episodes, and I think that like while some of the things within this episode aren't necessarily the best or the best or anything like that, I do think that because it's like so unique compared to most other things in the Total franchise, I do think that this is what makes this episode stands out quite a bit, which I think works like really well. And this episode is like is really enjoyable. And I do think that for like a third episode or something along those kind of lines, or even giving Casey like expanding upon his character a bit more, it's really nice. But I think that other than that, it's sort of like a throwaway one. But it's like I say this episode's kind of like a guilty pleasure one, where you know it's bad, but like it's just really nice to look at, and it's like yeah, I like it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, so for the trivia for this episode. It is, this episode bears a resemblance to issue 14 of the original comics, and in that issue, the Turtles help Casey return a golden cow, which was stolen from the top of the hometown's local variety store. Hey, why does the variety store have a golden cow?
I don't know. You're asking me?
Well, I don't know. It's the 80s and 90s. It seems like the kind of time period that you were like really shining.
Okay, I guess I'm 80s and 90s.
Well, with the amount of stuff hey, we've really felt like we're older than what probably should be, and we remember VHS tapes and all that kind of stuff. We remember the good stuff from the 80s and 90s, despite growing up in the 2000s. We're basically on that verge, Hayden.
Oh god.
Basically, yeah.
You don't have to remind me.
Okay, so Crazy Manny, he returns for an episode The Unconvincing Tall Titan. I think this might be his final appearance. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Casey calls Mr. Arboost Boss Hog, a name of a character from Dukes of Hazzard. Okay,
Duke of Hazards?
Yeah.
What's that?
It was a show from the another show from the 80s and 90s. I think it was about something to do with cars or stealing stuff or something along those kind of lines. I'm not too sure. I think have you seen Smallville?
Yes.
The person who plays Clark's dad, is it Jonathan?
God, I can't, it's going. This is going back a bit, mate.
Well, okay. Well, the human. Okay. Oh god, no, not I'm about to say human. And the person who plays Clark's father in the show, he plays one of the characters from there. I think I'm not too sure. I don't know anything about the show really. Okay, so for the cast, we've got John Tello voiced by Sam Riegel, Leonardo voiced by Michael St. Nicholas, Michelangelo voiced by Wayne Grayson, Raphael voiced by Greg Abbey, Casey voiced by Mark Thompson. For minor characters, and it's going to be a bit weird, we've got the villains, Bobby voiced by Wayne Grayson, Robbie voiced by Mark Thompson, Sim voiced by Ted Lewis, and Mr. Arbus voiced by David Brimmer. How are they minor characters? Some of them, like, you know, like we've got Bobby, Robbie, and Slim. They're like main characters. Okay.
Weird.
Okay, now for your favourite parts. So, for next week's episode, it is called Rogue in the House Part 1. What do you think is going to happen in that episode?
Rogue in the House Part 1.
Yes.
Rogue in the House. Rogue. Either one or two things, I think. Like, one, someone's gonna go rogue, or rogue could be like a name of a character that we haven't seen yet. But I don't know, because that could mean so many things. It could mean someone's gone rogue, like one of the turtles, such as Raphael. He's always going rogue, he's always the rebel. Or two, it could be a new character. But I don't know. I'm on the verge of those two theories at the moment. Am I getting warmer or am I getting colder?
With the first one, you are correct, but with the wrong character. And it's a character which you've seen, but you won't remember until you watch the episode. So, you should just leave it there because you won't remember whatsoever, like, who the character is.
Okay.
Okay, so now for your even more favourite part. Who do you think is going to be starting the episode?
Ooh.
And helpful hint, it's one of the turtles.
Okay. Cool. Rogue.
It doesn't really help all too much, but
No, it doesn't. But puts me on the right track. It's 4. It's 4 out of 4. There could be any of the turtles. I just need to pick one and hope for the best at this point.
I got a feeling like you're probably gonna get it wrong.
Yeah, most likely. But I'm used to it by now.
Let's name and shame.
Okay. Rogue. That wouldn't be Donnie. Wouldn't be Mikey. I'm gonna go with Raphael on this one.
Wrong. It's Leo.
Ah.
To make it even better, the part that with his opening thing, it doesn't really have anything to do with the actual episode itself. He's just describing the character.
Oh, Thanks.
You was never really gonna get it.
That's not fair at all. Like, I was never gonna get it in the first place.
I had nothing to do with it. Don't blame me.
Yeah, but no. How was I supposed to know that it's not related? Like, how am I supposed to? Oh, never mind. There's always next week.
Yeah, and you get it wrong then. But yeah, do you have anything else to say about this episode, or it's all done with this one?
To be honest, I'm sort of done with this episode. I liked it. It was really cool. I enjoyed the environment. I enjoyed the episode. Pretty crazy with the lasgun wielding cowboys. It was a really cool episode. Crazy idea. Yeah, it was a nice filler episode, all in all.
Yeah, I'd say that like it was decent enough for what they're trying to go for. It just could have been better, but yeah. So that's been an episode of Talking Turtles. I've been your host Teddy,
and I've been Hayden,
and we'll see you all soon. Goodbye, yo, bye.
Bye.